You think you love your Shih Tzu as much as possible? But what if I told you there are ways of loving that your dog has been quietly waiting for every single day, and you've been unintentionally missing them? I've lived with Shih Tzus long enough to realize something slightly uncomfortable. Most owners love in their own way, not in the way a Shih Tzu actually feels it. And this breed is unique because they rarely protest. They adapt. They endure. They keep everything very quiet. That's why the smallest things are often what shape the deepest bond. Shih Tzus don't need you to say, "I love you," 10 times a day. They need you to respect their world. For example, when you go outside, you may think a walk is for exercise. For a Shih Tzu, it's a chance to read the entire neighborhood through their nose. If you constantly pull the leash and rush to finish, you're cutting off the very thing that helps them feel confident and balanced. A Shih Tzu that is truly allowed to sniff comes home very different from one that was hurried. There's a moment I always pay attention to, when a Shih Tzu leans against your leg. Not when you call them, but when they choose to. That's not clinginess. It's how they regulate emotion. If you shift away, gently push them aside, or unconsciously ignore it, you miss a powerful opportunity to build trust. Love with a Shih Tzu often comes from what you allow, not from what you actively create. The way you touch them also says a lot. Many people pat the head out of habit, but Shih Tzus don't always enjoy that. They send very small signals. A quick blink, a slight head turn, a brief stiffening of the body. If you're sensitive enough to pause when you notice those signs, your dog learns, "I'm being heard." And a Shih Tzu that feels heard becomes much gentler. Have you ever tried just looking at your Shih Tzu with soft eyes? Without calling their name, without asking for anything, they respond with a slower gaze, softer eyes. That's not random. When two nervous systems slow down together, connection is built without words. Another thing people overlook, Shih Tzus care about safe distance. When they step back a little, it's not defiance. When they turn their face away, it's not ignoring you. It's their way of saying, "That's enough." If you respect that, they will choose to come back to you faster next time. And there's something that seems small, but is actually huge. Real presence. You can be home all day, but if your phone is always in your hand and your mind is elsewhere, your Shih Tzu knows. They read energy, not language. Just a few minutes sitting beside them without distraction, without requests, without training, can create deeper connection than hours of rushed play. Living with a Shih Tzu isn't about adding more actions. Sometimes it's about removing the small things that unintentionally create tension. Not loving more, but loving in the right rhythm for a small, incredibly sensitive body. I want you to do one thing right now. Think about the last time your Shih Tzu came to you on their own while you were busy. How did you respond? If you missed it, don't blame yourself. Just start slowing down a little from today. Leave a comment sharing one small behavior of your Shih Tzu that you once misunderstood but are beginning to see differently. Your experience might help another owner realize that love with a Shih Tzu doesn't live in big gestures, but in the quiet moments they offer you every single day. There is one more thing many Shih Tzu owners want to hear, but few people say directly. This breed does not need you to be perfect. They need you to be consistent. Shih Tzus are not impressed by the days you play extra long, buy new toys, or spend an hour training. What they remember is the rhythm that repeats every day. The energy you carry when you walk into the house. The tone you use when you call their name, whether you react to their mistakes with irritation or calmness, those are the foundations of their sense of safety. Many owners worry that they haven't taught enough commands, haven't walked long enough, haven't provided enough mental stimulation. But for a Shih Tzu, what helps them feel stable most is knowing what happens next. What time meals come, where they rest, which space belongs to them. When life has structure, their body relaxes. When everything changes constantly, they adapt by shrinking inward. Another question Shih Tzu owners often have is, why does my dog seem distant sometimes? The truth is, Shih Tzus do not always want interaction, and that is not a sign of a weak bond. A truly secure dog dares to move away because it knows it can always come back and be welcomed. If you force interaction in those moments, you unintentionally turn freedom into pressure. Don't measure love by how clingy your dog is. Some Shih Tzus won't jump up to hug you, but they will always choose a spot where they can see you. That is how they maintain connection while keeping their autonomy. And that autonomy is a sign of a healthy nervous system. If you're raising a Shih Tzu and have ever felt like you're not good enough, hear this. What makes them happy is not that you do more, but that you do less in the right rhythm. Be still when stillness is needed. Touch when invited. Stop at the smallest signal. Living with a Shih Tzu is learning to read what is never spoken. And once you start reading it, everything shifts. You worry less. They tense up less. The relationship moves from effort to trust. If these reflections truly help you understand your Shih Tzu more deeply, subscribe to the channel. Not to support me, but so you don't miss the small but important things this breed is communicating every day. And leave a comment about the biggest misunderstanding you once had about your Shih Tzu. Your story might be what helps another owner look again before it's too late. Before this video ends, I want you to hold on to one single idea, not as a random piece of advice, but as a foundation for how you see your entire relationship with your Shih Tzu. Love for this breed is not measured by intensity, but by consistency. You don't have to do anything grand. You don't need to turn every day into a special experience. You don't have to constantly stimulate, train, or create activities. What a Shih Tzu truly relies on to feel okay is an environment it can predict. A place where your voice sounds familiar. Your footsteps sound familiar. The way you touch them doesn't change unpredictably. When those things repeat long enough, their body stops being on guard. And when the body stops guarding, the dog begins to live in its true nature. Many owners judge their Shih Tzu's condition through outward behavior. Does it misbehave? Does it bark a lot? Does it cling? But those are only surface signs. What truly determines a Shih Tzu's well-being lies in its baseline state. Is the body relaxed? Are the eyes soft? Is the sleep deep? When you start observing at that level, you won't be pulled around by small, temporary changes anymore. You also don't need to understand every signal immediately. No one does. Raising a Shih Tzu is a process of becoming more subtle over time. At first, you may miss many signs, but once you begin to slow down, to observe instead of react, you'll start noticing details that used to pass by quickly. And when you notice them, you'll adjust naturally, not out of pressure, but out of understanding. Trust between you and your Shih Tzu is not built in one big moment. It's built from hundreds of very small interactions. One time you stop when they seem uncomfortable. One time you don't force when they want to step back. One time you sit beside them without asking anything. Those moments accumulate. And that accumulation creates a dog that is confident, calm, and stable. If there were times you feel you made mistakes, misunderstood them, or unintentionally caused stress, that doesn't make you a bad owner. It simply means you are in the middle of learning, and what matters most is not what you did in the past, but how you choose to show up from today forward. A truly happy Shih Tzu does not need to prove it. They don't need to be loud or demand attention. They only need to live in a space where their body is allowed to relax. When you create that space, you have done enough. If you've watched until this point, it means you care. And care that is guided by observation and respect is always stronger than any technique. Keep this slowness with you when you return to your Shih Tzu. Observe a little more. React a little less. Trust the small signals a little more. When you do that, you won't need to ask whether you are loving them the right way. Your dog will answer you clearly through calm movements, soft glances, and deep, steady sleep. And that is the most reliable answer of all.